Hello and welcome to Get to the Roots Extras. I'm Steph from Get to the Roots on Radio St. Pete. I'm joined with Willow Hughes from Holistic Hippie Vibes, and I'm joined with Sara Syms, singer-songwriter, and also from Holistic Hippie Vibes. Hi guys, welcome back.
Hey,
Hi.
thanks for having us back.
Thank you for contacting me again. So I hear from Willow, Sarah, you're going to be back in town from November 15th to November 16th for two different events. So can you guys tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes. So we are going to be at the Art Walk in St. Petersburg with the Brew Raven Collective, and we are also going to be at the coffee house in Riverview for the hippie event. So yeah, really excited.
Excellent, excellent. So those are both evening events, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. So the weather will be wonderful. You'll get like some sort of like pass from these hot days that we're still having somehow in November in Florida.
Everywhere. I'm in Nashville and I feel like the weather's wacky everywhere.
It is. And then so also you guys mentioned that you record the intro to the Vibe Tribe, a new podcast. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that as well?
Yes. So, and that's where Sarah and I are connecting is through the Vibe Tribe. And Sarah does have her own life coaching business, which I'll let her tell you a little bit about. But yeah, the Vibe Tribe is our podcast where there's a group of us, most of us clinicians came together, and we are promoting mental health and wellness.
Excellent. Always good to promote that. And so following up on that, today we're going to hear two special things. A little bit later, after we get the conversation flowing a little bit, Sarah's going to sing for us actually on the podcast, which is amazing. And Willow's going to do some sound healing for us so we can all feel super healed from her singing bowls. But I wanted to like just continue a little bit about our conversation from last time. So since we spoke, we had Hurricane Milton just come at us. So, Sarah, how did that affect you up where you are?
I mean, it affected me because I didn't get to go to Florida, which was really sad. And I was really holding space for all the people that were involved. But we were unaffected here. And just, again, a lot of really good friends down in the Florida area. And we had a bunch of lives that we were, just holding space for people and making sure that, we can do a lot energetically for even things like storms. Just having kind of a positive outlook and, using prayer or, it doesn't matter how religious or non-religious or spiritual you are, just, thinking good, positive thoughts. And I have this thing that I call bubbling up. And you can do it for your own energy. You can also do it for a moving vehicle. You can move it. You can do it for towns, but it's energetically imagining a bubble of protection that is basically saying, Florida's going to get hit, and I'm using my energy to make sure that I can do as everything that I can from not being there, and just thinking good thoughts and holding high vibration. Because at the end of the day, whatever you believe in, we are all energy, and everything else that comes to us is energy. So whether it's natural disasters or storms or, weather or solid things, we are all made of the same space, just put together differently, So like a table is energy as much as human beings are energy. Obviously, we're a little bit different than a table, but I think that I was really bummed, and I'm really, glad to hear that most of my friends and loved ones were safe. And my heart goes out to anyone that was, affected really bad. I still have a lot of friends that are in the Asheville area, and the destruction that they had from the hurricane before that was just so massive. And so my heart goes out to everyone that, was affected by it.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking what happened in Asheville. I have a friend up there as well, and we were in touch after the hurricane. He works at a hospital. He was very displaced, and his father still lives down here in Tampa, and we were in touch the entire time during Milton. And it was very nice to be back in touch with my very good friend in Asheville, but at the same time, it's like, why these circumstances? For real. So it's kind of like a cursed blessing in a way where you can like be in touch with your loved ones, send them good energy, but at the same time it's like, oh, maybe not when there's a catastrophe going on. So
Right.
I really like that idea of bubbling up. So when you do that, do you like visualize? Is it
Yep.
feeling?
Yep. So you can feel it, you can visualize it, you can do it with your eyes open, eyes closed. I do it a lot with I am a very sensitive person, so I very much, call myself an empath, and a lot of times other people's energy affects me a lot. So I'm very sensitive, and I will just start crying out of nowhere and be very confused where this is coming from. And I've had to learn over the years how to protect my energy going in places. And so this was taught to me by someone that I was in yoga with, this technique of bubbling up. But it's, yeah, it's, you can imagine it, you can visually see it. But it's really just like an aura or a safe space around you where you energetically claim that everything outside of the bubble stays outside of the bubble, and everything inside of the bubble, you are protected. So if there is, maybe there's something that you can do with anything. Maybe you're having a family fight, right? And or there's someone in the family that has a lot of narcissistic energy. You can bubble up and just energetically say that I'm not going to allow this person's negative energy to enter my space. And so it's really just, again, it can be something that you see, something that you imagine, something that you feel. But it's just practicing that. You're practicing boundaries is really all you're doing. You're practicing energetic boundaries as opposed to physical boundaries when you're saying to someone like, we will not talk about this. Energetically, you're just saying, I will not allow someone's negative energy to come. And, in the case of the hurricane, when I do that, I'm just saying I'm asking for the highest protection, and I'm asking that you energetically stay away from this targeted area. And so it's again, you're imagining it, but you're wholeheartedly like believing in it and holding that space and that vibration.
I love that. I did this the whole last time we all spoke. I'm like, I love that. I love that. But I truly do. I feel when talking to you guys, it's so wonderful because this is a lot of what I incorporate in my life. Because I've
Mhm.
noticed when you are a sensitive person, you can be very affected by the negativity around you. And if you don't put up that boundary, you're just kind of led down this path of the negativity. But once you start to stand up for yourself, stand up for others, stand up for the positivity in a healthy way, you notice the other people around you also doing the same thing. Like we all kind of are connected in that way as well. That's very cool. Also, I want to say that more sensitive people tend to make the more insightful musicians and artists out there, no matter the medium. So I'm not surprised to hear you say that about yourself.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
Willow, I wanted to ask you, you recently made a post on TikTok about some journal entries from some younger people that have been involved in your clinical practice. Is there anything you can speak to about that?
Yeah, so I'm really excited. My clients made the Everything Journal, and you can get that on my webpage at www.holistic, HOLISTIC, hippie, HIPPIE, vibes, VIBES.com. And if you go to my journal section in my retail shop, it's called the Everything Journal, and they said they named it that because it has everything in it. And what that is a collective of artwork that was put together by my clients, all ages from 5 to 18. And they created their art in therapy sessions while we talked. And they also came up with their own quotes. All the artwork is theirs. They even helped watch me when I published it into the KDP, into Amazon and everything. So, and we're working on a second one now with my current caseload. So yeah, there's a second one that's current. I think we're on like page 13 or something like that. So, but yeah, I am really excited. It's my favorite journal. It's beautiful. Every single page is different.
That's so cool. That's wonderful that you're able to have that collaborative effort come together, especially to have that sense of community with younger people that are struggling. That's something that we all need, especially when we're younger, because we base our future lives on that. We have that sense of community as younger people. We can often reflect back to that. I don't know if that happens for you guys, but sometimes I'm thinking back and like, oh, I used to love when I used to hang out and do this fun thing in high school. I should find a way to recreate that with
Yes.
my friends now, which I think for me has been this whole like Radio St. Pete thing. I'm like, oh, look, other people that like to do things. Amazing. I finally found you guys. You couldn't hide for long.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I love working with adolescents. You know, they're our future. And I also work with parents too. And, you know, so I work with both sides of it. I really take, when it comes to the adolescents, I try to take a systemic approach. You know, it's a system. I say it takes a village. So the more that I can have involved, the more adults involved in a child's therapy, the better, especially when they're younger.
Awesome. And since we were talking about something you posted on your TikTok, we spoke about this last time, but I wanted to talk about it again. You guys hang out on TikTok together, right? And do a live
Yes.
stream. Can we talk
Yes.
about that one more time, please?
So yeah, I'll let Sarah tell us about the potluck on every other Tuesday.
Yeah. So we started it a couple months ago, and it was really just a place where I think everyone needs community, and that can be different from the people in your everyday lives. But, if you are maybe you are recently, in recovery from whatever, a substance, from alcohol, you are maybe doing a little bit more of your own self-healing, and maybe people in your life aren't necessarily doing that. And so you're finding you're having a hard time connecting with people that might understand what you're going through. So we started every other Tuesday. It was initially called the Healing Hang. And after the first episode, it was so, I can't even describe. Every single one that we have is just, there are connections that are made. People are crying, people are laughing. And at the end of it, we just started talking about food for some random reason. And we came up with this idea of calling it the podcast, or sorry, calling it the potluck, but it's more of an emotional potluck than a physical food potluck. Every episode that we have, we also talk about food, and we kind of have a prompt where everyone goes around and talks about what they're going to bring food wise to the potluck. And that gets everyone really excited, talking about food, because who doesn't love food? And then also what they are bringing emotionally to the potluck. So that could be something that they're celebrating. So there's this notion of something called a glimmer, which is the opposite of a trigger. A glimmer is something that you are celebrating. So for me today, a glimmer might have been a beautiful walk with my two dogs, like to take them potties. And I went for 20 minutes. So either sharing something that they're celebrating with, or sharing something with the group that they are struggling with and they need some space to be held. And it's just really nice. It's become a group of like a core group of like 7 or 8 of us. And we have a bunch of people in the chat. And we really just kind of go around and share some, coping skills, tips and tricks, anything that has helped us along our healing journey. And there's always really amazing conversations that bubble to the surface. And it might be, two people from the chat that aren't in the window. And then everyone kind of rallies around them. So yeah, it's called the potluck, and it's every other Tuesday. And yeah, we usually announce it on our TikTok channels. So that's been really, really healing, and a great place to find some solace online, with like-minded people.
Wonderful. So, and speaking of healing, now we were a little bit kind of tentative how we're going to do this. I wanted to kind of ask you both for maybe not like a demonstration or like an example, but we can't violate HIPAA
Yeah.
because, which is so cool that you guys are protected under HIPAA. It adds a lot of weight and, what's the word I'm looking for? Not clarity or adjudication, but it just adds like,
Trust.
what is it?
Trust.
Trust. I think it's a level of trust.
Yes, that's exact. That great word. I love the simple words. So it does. It adds more trust and it adds more like validness to what you do.
Mhm.
But I wanted to ask you both, like, kind of if you could like walk us through like what kind of a coaching session would look like from each of you, but you don't have to give any like client information. You can make details up if you want. I can be like, I'm struggling with this. What would you say to me, or how would you help me? So I would like to ask Willow first. So how would you like to go through that? Do you have something in mind that you could just speak to, or do you want me to be like,
Yeah, I can just speak to. So, I'm intuitive and and we're going to be at the Full Moon Market in St. Petersburg, and Tracy is the one that coordinates that Full Moon Market that we'll be at on the 15th of November. So she said that when she got done getting a spiritual reading with me, she's like, that wasn't your normal spiritual reading. So I decided to kind of coin it intuitive life coaching. So I'm a master's level therapist, so I can bring the DBT, the CBT, motivational interviewing, all of those different modalities that I learned in college and in my training as a therapist, but I also combine the holistic. So it's going to be different for everybody. Somebody may want more holistic stuff where we do more of the breath work, the spiritual cards, which is like I pull the cards and then give like life coaching based off of the cards that come up and whatever I hear from my higher power. And then I do like the meditation, the sound healing, the energy work. I work with parents. I can do ice baths. I do house cleanses. It's very intuitive and it's individualized. So I meet the needs of the client. So essentially, that's why I like having those consultations for 15 minutes. It gives me an opportunity to kind of find out where the client is at and what they're hoping to get. So you can get the more traditional therapy, or you could get holistic care, or a combination of both.
that's really cool. So when you say the cards, do you mean tarot cards, or do you have
Yeah,
like,
Terra, and I use Terra, I use Oracle, I use even coping skill cards, positive affirmation cards. I go beyond just the traditional, I it's whatever, again, it's all intuitive and whatever comes up. And I have a lot of decks because when I was teaching at the yoga studio, which I hope I'll be doing here again soon at Karma Yoga in Brandon, but when I teach breath work, I like to have them wake up to a card that I intuitively pull throughout their session. So I like to have a bunch of decks so that way the book's there with the card. And when they wake up from their meditation, then they have, a spiritual card sitting there waiting for them. So it's just whatever, it's just intuitive. It's all intuitive.
I love that. And I think that scientifically too, like with your clinical background, reframing is very important for the psyche. So I feel that that's backed up not only from like a spiritual path, but also just like a scientific path, because the more different lenses that we look at issues through, the better we can reach our road of understanding, even if that is through like, well, it's not this, but now that I know it's not this, I can more clearly see it's this. That's
Yeah.
exciting. That's
Yeah.
great. And we
That's
will,
what's, sorry.
no, please.
I was going to say that's what's cool about combining the two worlds, because I can teach you the science behind it and I can teach you the woo behind it, and I can explain why it's both. Manifestation, there's science behind that. When we write stuff down and then we say it over and over, we're actually embedding it into the brain and it's rewiring your automatic thoughts. So, yes, it can be woo and holistic, but yes, also there's science that can explain it too. Same thing with the music, somatics. So, yeah.
I feel like we should all go, woo! Woo for
Woo!
the woo! That is very cool. I read recently that manifestation is the opposite of procrastination.
Yeah,
That
I
really
love that.
resonated with me.
I love that.
Very neat. So, Sarah, you have like you said earlier you have like your own practice, and I know we've spoken about like your coaching side. So, I just want to ask you basically the same question. So, we have Willow's approach. So, how does your approach differ? How is it similar to Willow's approach for when you take on a client?
Yeah, so I think the really cool thing in all my training of, going through coaching is that I think a lot of times people think that they're going to go to a coach or a therapist and they're going to get answers from them. And that is quite the opposite. I think, what people will soon realize is that they have all the answers within themselves. And the role of a therapist or a coach is basically to walk alongside them in their journey to help them uncover these aha moments. And so when I first start with a client, the first thing I want to know is why they're here. Like, what are they looking, what are they looking to gain, and to get really clear on that. I think where my approach comes in that's a little unique is that I am a songwriter turned life coach. And so I definitely use music as a tool for transformation, and the ability to use various forms of music, whether it's, looking and listening to lyrics, different frequencies that, are healing frequencies, helping clients turn their own healing journey into a beautiful piece of art. I think a lot of people are just like, well, I'm not creative, or I'm not a songwriter, and everyone has the ability to do that. So I think, if I'm going to help them with that side of it, that's pretty cool, because they might think, well, I could never write a song. And I'm not writing the song with them, but I'm walking alongside of them. And, I'm trained to ask the right questions and to, have the knowledge that I have. But I think it's really, when you come to a life coach, a lot of the onus is on you. It's on the clients. And so we will work on various things, whatever it is that they want to accomplish, and get really granular on, what goals we want to set for those. There is something out there called SMART goals. I think a lot of times we, myself included, will just say something like, oh, I want to go to grad school. And that's very lofty, right? There's no action plan to that. So, or if you wanted to travel somewhere, you're like, I want to go to Italy. I want to go on vacation in Italy. So a SMART goal is, it basically breaks it down, and it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So a SMART goal in the form of, I want to go to Italy, if we break it down, specific might be, okay, I want to save money to go to Italy. Measurable, you need to say how much that is. So I'm going to save $1,000 over the next blah, blah, blah. Achievable, we need to make sure that these goals are achievable, because we want our clients to feel like they're making progress, and we want to celebrate the really small goals, the medium goals, and the large goals. Because we all know that, like, if we just say, we want to achieve something, and then we don't do that, it can feel really bad. So if we have something that's very attainable, where it's like, okay, every month I can put aside X amount of dollars, which is very feasible in my budget. Relevant. So why do you want to have this? So it's really just working with clients on making what they want a reality. And we can do that by putting things into place. So one is working with SMART goals. Another one is, a lot of times people are coming to life coaches or therapists because they feel stuck. I've worked with life coaches before. I've been in therapy for 20 years. I mean, I've done it all. But I think that we realize that we have limiting belief systems, right? That stem from childhood. So it might be something like, I'm not good enough. Or it might be, everyone else gets what I want. It might be something like, I'm not worthy of this success. There's another one where I don't specifically suffer with this, but that I would feel guilty if I was successful. Like if they're in a family or something that is like, I, you know, if I have success, that will make my family around me feel bad about themselves. So that's a limiting belief and some of these beliefs, clients don't even know about. Right. So part of the session is working with them to determine what are some of these belief systems that they have and how we go about changing those. So there's oodles and oodles of, tools that we can use. And, I just, like Willow said, I mean, it really depends on what they need and what they want, because we are not the ones to give them the answers. Like, at the end of the day, I don't care, nobody knows what is better for their lives than I do. And it's the same with the clients, even if they're in a state where they, don't feel very empowered. The whole point of coaching and working with therapists is for us to empower them to find their aha moments.
That is wonderful. I love that. I really enjoyed when you said that you don't guide them to write the song, that you just walk with them through it. I think that's a really beautifully like way to illustrate that type of process. And I want to ask a follow-up question. You mentioned frequencies. Is there like a specific go-to frequency like selection that you go to, or is it something that you go to like your guide and you're like, oh, this person is struggling with this. I know there's a couple frequencies here that I could recommend to them. Or do you find yourself like um choosing one frequency more than other ones?
I mean, I feel like there are certain frequencies that are there's, frequencies that are specific to your different chakras. There's heart chakra frequencies. If you're struggling with your sense of self or self-empowerment, that would be your third chakra. If you are dealing with a lot of chronic pain, there are other frequencies that are specific towards that. So, I think that I definitely have a good grasp of music and frequencies. I know Willow has she may have a lot more, but for me, I really, see what people's knowledge are. Like some people might come and not know anything about chakras, and that's really interesting to learn about these energy sources that live up our spine and how, one builds upon the next. And so even just a session talking about chakras as these energy centers in our bodies can be really impactful and really empowering, because then I feel like we spend a lot as humans, we spend a lot of our time walking around up in our heads in, the neurotic, like just try and think everything correctly. And when we start to move into the body, then that is where all of the answers are. And so if we start to become aware of our energy systems in our body, and as just a quick simple cliffs notes versions of what chakras are. It starts with the root, which is the base of your spine, your sits bones, like in yoga when you're sitting in Indian style, and that is the lowest frequency, and that is all around like think cavemen. It's survival. It's like everything that you need. And so they get a lot more complicated as they go up the spine. So it's your root chakra, then your second chakra, which is orange, your third chakra, which is yellow. I mean, they all stand for various things. You have your heart chakra and your throat chakra and your head chakra. And so, just learning about that can be really eye-opening in starting to notice the energy that's in your body and where things are feeling off. So,
And what's
and
really
Willow,
cool
please.
to
Yeah.
piggyback off of that is our so like my bowls are set up to go root to crown. And then also like there's even certain sounds that we can make from our own voices that take us, from root to crown to do the same, so like I can actually tune my voice to the bowls, so like like the root would be and then so like you would hit it and then just so I'm actually gonna be putting together a class that teaches the sounds of the chakras and how to use your vocals to help cleanse your chakras. So that'll be coming soon.
Where will we be able to find that on your website and your social
Yes.
media?
Yeah, it'll be a virtual class. Yeah, and I'll be promoting, shooting it out online. Yep.
Excellent. I love all this roots talk with Get to the Roots.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so this weekend we are actually going to be or next weekend, I'm sorry. So this weekend I will be at the Art Walk and Market at the Mad Monk on Saturday, November 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. And then on November 10th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., I will be with the Tampa local market at Florida Avenue Brewing Company. The following weekend is when Sarah comes down, and she
Yay.
will be with me at the Blue Raven Full Moon Market. And there's also Community Drum Circle that night. And Sarah will be singing, I believe, from 7 to 8 p.m. And that is at 6340 Central Avenue from 7 to 11 p.m. And then we will also be at Vibes on the Boulevard Night Market. And that is going to be at 10526 Lake Street Lake St. Charles Boulevard. Sorry. And that is in Riverview. And I believe that is Chill Coffee in Riverview. So, and that is on the 16th from 6 to 10 p.m. And Sarah will be singing there as well.
Awesome. I want to say one more thing before we get into a beautiful song and some beautiful singing bowls. I really liked what you said about being in the body. And I heard this wonderful quote that I think you'll both enjoy that it said basically that prayer isn't so much about asking, but it's about listening. And I feel that really relates to our conversation here.
I love that. That's great.
I love that. I always say prayer is talking to God and meditation is listening.
Awesome. Awesome. So I think for the sake of the to wrap up, I feel like it would go well if we do a song from Sarah and then we end on the singing bowls. Does that resonate well with you both?
Sounds
Yep.
beautiful.
Wonderful. And we're going to turn our little sound for musicians on.
Yes. Do a test. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to do an older one. This is off of my album, The Darkest Light, which really was one of the albums that kind of was the catalyst for me moving 100,000% into music for healing. And I feel like with everything that's going on in the world, and there just being so much information and, people not sure what's up and what's down with the election and, everything else, like this song is called Where Do I Belong? And it's really just this notion that we all want to find our place in this world. We all want to find our tribe. We want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. And so I wrote this when I was really questioning kind of where I belonged. So it's a little self-explanatory, but... Where do I belong? Where is my place? Out on a ledge in this open space, land for you and me, fighting to be free. Our hopes and dreams for what we wanna be. I said, where do I belong? I said, where do I belong? I lie awake and wonder why my heart feels the way it does down deep inside. Confusion sets in. Where shall I begin? Am I just another face? Trying to find my final place. Say, where do I belong? I said, where do I belong? I said, where do I belong? I said, where do I belong? Yeah. Just like the old man and the sea, the phoenix rising from the ashes to be free. I find my way, just gonna take a little time, I'll carry on. Right on down the line, oh, where do I belong? Where is my place? Out on a ledge in this open space, land for you and me, fighting to be free. Our hopes and dreams, what we wanna be. I said, where do I belong? 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 Yeah. 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 Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. I said, where do I belong?
Woo! Beautiful.
Thank you.
And like I said last time, it's just you're so wonderful at music. you just sang for us over Zoom. It sounded like people could not record something like that. Like,
Oh,
that's
thank you.
beautiful. That's the tell of a true musician that's really worked on your craft. So, no, thank you so much.
Appreciate it. I love playing and sharing my soul with people.
That's wonderful. And so your website is Sara Syms.
SaraSyms.com, and you can find all of the music stuff on there. And if you just do /coaching, you can find all of my coaching things, and you can book a consultation with me as well, just to see if we are good to work together.
Wonderful. Thank you so much again. Hi, future Steph here from Get to the Roots and Get to the Roots Extras. This next segment, where Willow plays the singing bowls, is a functional meditation. Do not listen to this portion of the broadcast or podcast while driving. Ordinarily, I would never tell you to turn off a podcast. I would never tell you to turn off Radio St. Pete, but it is dangerous to listen to a meditation while driving or operating any heavy equipment or machinery. I really enjoyed having both Sarah and Willow back on Get to the Roots and all functions and shape of form. But for your own safety, if you are operating any equipment, such as driving a vehicle, do not listen to this next portion. In about 7 minutes, 8 minutes, give it a little bit of time, turn the broadcast back on. It is archived on Get to the Roots Extras. Soon to be available where all podcasts are found, and currently it's on Podbeam. But the main home of everything that I do is Radio St. Pete, radiostpete.com, and Get to the Roots. That is the important thing here. And the other important thing is you, the listener. And the other important thing is, of course, Willow and Sarah for joining us today for this broadcast. Thank you so much for listening. And if you don't turn the broadcast back on, I hope to catch you next week, 3 to 5 p.m. here on Radio St. Pete. Or on the podcast. Hooray! All right, Willow. Now we had singing Sarah. Let's have some singing bowls.
So let's do a little test. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna do a little, teach you what our basic breath should be. If we can begin to adapt this breath as our automatic breath, we will extend our life, because our life is actually measured by the circles of breath, not by the circles around the sun. So if we can slow down our breath, we can extend our life. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you pause your breath. We'll blow out our air. We'll breathe in. We'll sigh out. And then we're going to go into belly, into the ribs, and then into the heart, out of the stomach, out of the ribs, out of the heart. If you're able, you'll take that air in through your nose and out through your mouth. If not, do what feels right for your body. All right. So we're going to go ahead, pause that breath, blow out our air. Big breath in. Take an extra sniff, an extra sip, and sigh it out. Breathing into stomach, into ribs, into heart, out of the stomach, out of the ribs, out of the heart. Unclenching your jaw, relaxing your shoulders, relax your tongue, feeling as if you're growing roots into the ground below. See if you can slow that breath a little bit more. Turning your internal mind just to your breath. The mind begins to wander, just notice it. Don't judge it. want you to focus in that heart area, in your chest, taking your internal mind there. Imagine a green energy circling around your chest. If you have any grief, you can see it leaving with each exhale. With each inhale, breathing in love. That energy is cleansing your heart. Once it's cleansed, you're going to pull that energy into your heart space, placing a cap on it and locking it in place. Returning that internal vision to your breath. Go ahead and pause that breath again. Take a nice big breath in. Let the mouth open and just let it fall out. One more time, big breath in. Just let it escape. Beginning to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Move your head from left to right, stretch out your arms. Honor your body in this moment. And when you're ready, you can gently flutter your eyes open, coming back to this space and this time. Namaste, Sat Nam, Aho, Amen.
Yeah, I feel like we should go, yay! Oh, that felt great.
Super zen.
Oh, wonderful. I'm gonna have to add a disclaimer. Do not
Do not be
if you're
driving.
driving, I'll do that. I'll do that. You'll hear my little funny little thing in there. So that was Willow Hughes, Holistic Hippie Vibes, Sara Syms, SaraSyms, Willow Hughes, WillowHughes, Holistic Hippie Vibes. Again, Willow and Sara will be with us here in the Tampa Bay area November 15th and 16th. Thank you guys so much again. It was so lovely to see you again so soon.
Same. We should make this a regular thing. We love talking with you.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, let's do it. We'll just be a segment. You guys,
and we'd love to have you on the Vibe Tribe too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yes.
Let
pick
me
a
know.
Wednesday. You just go to the website. So if anybody does have mental health that they want to promote, and it's anything that's life enrichment. If it's enriching people's lives, we want to promote it. So you can go to my website and you can go up to the podcast page and then you can just submit the forms request. And we record Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just give us a few dates that you like and we'll let you know when we can chat with you.
Awesome. All right, we'll do it. Thank you everyone for listening to this Get to the Roots Extra. And also thank you so much for supporting Radio St. Pete.